So sorry, I'm back again. Yeah, what to do? I got some weird internet problems. I don't know what kind of internet problems happened. So I had no connection. Now I have full connection again. Interesting. Okay, so I can do it again. So I wanted to share my opinion on this recent pressing of Paranoid from Black Sabbath on Rhino Hi-Fi. 180 grams vinyl cut from the original analog master tapes by Kevin Gray, pressed on optimal. Yeah, John Bandy take two. They somehow they kicked me out. I don't know. Uh, no problem. Sorry. Yeah, limited number 3,104, and by the help of my good friend John Simpson, I got this edition. I first didn't even bothered very much to get it, but then I was eager to compare it after I heard the experts review it. You have to do it twice, yeah. So I had to get it, and I had to wanted to listen to it because the reviews have been very favorable, and I kind of like the Sabbath debut album by Kevin Gray. It's not bad. It's very good, but not as good as the first pressing, in my opinion. So I just got this one like 3 days before, and I listened to it now attentively. And now today, I wanted to really directly compare it on the stereo. So what can I say? I can say after listening to this one and to the US first pressing. I have the US first pressing as a white label promo, and I have, of course, the Big Bear UK first pressing. So, like John Bandy said in take one, you can say it here again for the Afterworld. They are two different presentations, in my opinion. The tapes of the original UK pressing sounded much darker. They sound much more ominous, much more menacing in my ears. So I think this was artist intent. It was not failure on their part. They wanted it to sound like that. I mean, a War Pigs and Iron Man and Hand of Doom, they are not audiophile aiming audio productions. So these are very dark, very heavy songs. So I find it that the first UK pressing, which I know from the beginning, it fits perfectly the sound to the music. So now Rhino Hi-Fi under the creation of Kevin Gray, he cut it and he mastered it. He did a very marvelous job. I applaud his efforts. I find I was blown away when I heard it the first time. I was blown away by the clarity and by the transparency of what I heard from War Pigs and the volume. What is it called? The volume discrepancies is gone now. Fantastic. And it sounded very, very good. It sounded for me much better than when I first listened to the Rhino Hi-Fi debut album for the first time. So I was immediately very impressed by the huge soundstage, by the clarity, by the brilliance of the highs and the mids, and still keeping the huge bottom end, the bass and the drums and the darker frequencies, the lower frequencies. So I was immediately very happy that I bought it. It's a very complete different presentation from what I am used to for the German first pressing or the UK first pressing. But for that price of 40 euros, I hope they release it again, because nowadays they again go way over 100 euros, the resellers. But I think they will really re-release it again, unnumbered. So for 40 euros, this pressing of Paranoid is for me now my number two pressing. I say it in the beginning. Uh, I already solved the riddle. It is a really, really, really good pressing, fantastic sound. And I was talking with PB Thal, Patrick the Vinyl Archivist, and he says yes, he likes it, but he said to me that the mids and the highs are a little bit too much and a little bit they fatigue him. So and when I listen to the album now of Rhino, this one Rhino Hi-Fi through side A and side B, I agree with him. the highs and the mids are augmented and enhanced. And I also know why, because many people say, oh my god, the UK first pressing sounds muffled, it sounds muddy, it sounds like behind a veil, it sounds behind yeah, it sounds too dark. I want clarity, I want transparency. I understand this approach, and I also like that this has been done with the Rhino Hi-Fi. He did it 2006 with his cut too, but there I think he overdid a little bit the mids and the highs. It's a little bit more digitally sounding, more like, you know, the modern sounding versions of the metal albums. But here again he did a fantastic job in having a balance between augmenting the highs and the mids, but keeping the boom and the wonderful lower end of that album. So this is a really marvelous job in terms of clarity. But it can be, like Patrick said, it can be a little bit fatiguing, but they are, because they are very pronounced. This immediately, you see, I put it on the player, and I had my volume knob on between 9 and 10 o'clock. So this is pretty loud for my living room, pretty loud. So it was very dynamic, very in your face, beautiful soundstage, very loud, very powerful, huge punch. So then I listened to it, and then I let the volume stand, and let the volume knob on the same position I put on the UK first pressing, and I had immediately, you hear the difference. Like John Bandy, you said, there is a completely different presentation. First of all, I have to augment the volume knob. I had to put it between 10 and nearly 11, which usually I only go with such albums like Paranoid, Balls to the Wall, those who are cut low. You have to put up the volume knob. I put it up on 11 o'clock to have the same impact in my sitting place in the living room, like the Rhino Hi-Fi. And then the magic happens. Like, I only can say like that, you know, when you first listen to the UK first pressing and you turn up the volume knob, bah, it's something you cannot, I cannot reproduce in words. It's like they come out of the speakers and they stand in your living room. Very cliche, I know, I don't give a fuck. So they stand in your living room and you hear every nuance, and it's such a fucking impact in your, yeah, in your listening experience. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. You know how heavy and how fat and brutal the attack of the UK first pressing comes when you turn up the volume knob, and when you have a decent sound system. You know, you should have a decent sound system. Otherwise, I can understand that the people say it's muddied, it's muffled, it's too dark. I know. Therefore, you have the treble knob. I don't have a treble knob on my Name Audio Super Night. He brings it out like it is done. I can only use volume and balance. I have no treble and bass and stuff. So I listen as it is. So and then this is, you know what I say, Kevin Gray really captured that fantastic holographic 3D experience of that beautiful UK first pressing. But it's not quite the same. It's not quite the same. It's not quite the same. You know, this analog, I know it's cliche, but for me the UK first pressing has this wonderful analog sounding, like they recorded it in the studio. I heard that they recorded most of the tracks live. So you have this harmonic, balanced, warm sound of the bass, of the drums. Yes, the drums don't sound like Powerwolf and all these Pro Tool metal bands. I know, but this is not what Paranoid you should sound like. It should sound ominous. It should sound menacing. It should sound brutal. It should sound heavy, and it does. You know, it does. So when you, like I said, this I had on volume 9.5, and I had to turn up the volume knob for the UK first pressing up to slightly before 11 to have the same dynamics and the same loudness and impact. And then you can hear the difference, because it opens up even a little bit, not only a little bit more, it opens up more on the soundstage and on the production, what you can feel of the music, how it impacts your being. So in that term, for me, the UK first pressing is untouched. So I have the Kevin Gray 2006. I have this wonderful, wonderful US first pressing, the Paranoid. This is the white label promo, which sounds fantastic in my ears. This is this white label promotional copy from Chris Vinyl Piper. It sounds fantastic. I don't think that the Rhino Hi-Fi sounds so much better than the first US pressing. A little bit more clear, a little bit more boost on all frequencies to little bit over to kill it a little bit more, you know. But if you have a first pressing in the US, a greeny version, or like I found this from Chris Vinyl, that this white label promo, I don't think that the greeny, the original UK, original US greeny Warner Brothers first pressing, it sounds fantastic in my ears. And at least they are on par, the Rhino Hi-Fi and the US first pressing. For me, they are on par with a little bit more boom, a little bit more a little bit more sing for the Rhino Hi-Fi, a little bit more clarity, more detailed, more, how to say, a little bit more of everything on the Rhino Hi-Fi, but unmatched in my humble opinion. Many people don't believe that I have the big bear. They say I talk blah blah blah, but I can prove it to you. This is the big bear. There it is. Can you see big bear management credits? Let me focus it more. Third line, fourth line, manage Big Bear Birmingham. So this is the original first UK pressing. Not to brag or something, but I heard that many say that maybe it's not the original first pressing. It is the original first pressing in a near mint shape. So I could compare it nicely to it, and um, for me this is a clear thing. I love the clear, transparent production of the Rhino Hi-Fi, but I think I will always compare. I would always prefer the UK first pressing. It has a certain magic to it, especially when you turn up the volume knob, especially when you have a clean copy where you can listen to Planet Caravan without the campfire obstructing your experience. I had this many times that changes. I think changes too. Let me check. Yeah. No, changes is on. Sorry, changes is on a different album. It is Planet Caravan. I had like three UK first pressings, two big bears and one not big bear. I sold them all because they all have been noisy as hell, especially during Planet Caravan. But this one I got now is free from all crackling, a little bit more money for it. So this is the problem, that for those who don't want to pay a lot of money, I highly recommend this Rhino Hi-Fi, because you cannot find the US first pressing in a very good condition. I checked so many, I saw two, three of them completely gone, completely trashed. So yeah, it's not easy to find the US first pressing in a wonderful condition. Is of course when you go up 150 €200 you can find them, but nowadays the UK first pressing is like 6 7 €800. This is madness. So I found mine for 400, I think, 1 2 years ago. Nowadays I think this one in this condition is at least 1,000, near mint, with the inner sleeve, blah blah blah. So my final verdict, for me, subjectively, everything is very subjective, I know, would be that the UK first pressing still is my number one and go to reproduction of Paranoid. But the Rhino Hi-Fi is not a disappointment at all. It's a wonderful, wonderful experience in terms of clarity and dynamics. He did a really, 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 yes, Chris, very, very good, very, very good job from Kevin Gray. So I highly recommend, if anyone is looking for a great sounding Paranoid pressing and you cannot get your hands on a US first pressing, the one I got from you, Chris, the promo, white label promo, they are on the Rhino Hi-Fi and the US first pressing. I don't think that that one is better than the other. But the difference then to the UK first pressing, I find it's there. So in my opinion, it is there. For me, the UK first pressing doesn't sound muffled and muddied, especially when you have a good system and you can turn up the volume knob and the sound comes out in such a infernal power, like it is meant to be. I have to wait when it's good. Yes, I think they will bring it out for unnumbered. If they bring it out unnumbered for 40 euros, it's a total no-brainer because it sounds fantastic. I was worried about reproducing the bass, the drums, and the bottom end, because that was for me the most critical point on Kevin Gray's remastering of the Sabbath debut. I found it lacking in that department. Some people say it's not true. This is all subjective, but the original UK first pressing of the Sabbath debut has a huge bass, and dark lower frequencies are so much powerful. So there I find this Paranoid Rhino Hi-Fi better in terms of, for me. I think it's still up. I have to redo it, I think, for the Black Sabbath pressings, because the VMP Master of Reality is a knockout. It's a fantastic pressing. I just got that 1 or 2 weeks ago. Master of Reality, this fucking colored vinyl, but it's quiet. It's quiet colored vinyl, but it sounds freaking amazing. It really comes very close, if not on par, with my UK first pressing of Master of Reality. Beautifully done, my God! Such a wonderful job on that one. Ryan Smith, I think, or what is he called, who did that one? This Master of Reality by VMP. Highly recommend that one. I was skeptical, but then PBThal did a wonderful vinyl capture of that album, and immediately I ordered it. Ryan K. Smith, yeah. And I like what I heard, what Patrick did. He digitalized it, and I checked it. So I immediately bought it, the VMP Master of Reality. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. Yeah, Ron, hi. Thank you for joining. You are such a legend. It's true. The Black Sabbath debut Vertigo versus the Rhino. Yeah, I think, Ron. The people, the most thing I hear people say is that the first four Black Sabbath albums, they all sound muddied and dark, and yeah. But I think that is their special charm. I think that is what they are supposed to sound from artist intent: menacing, ominous, doomy. It's not a modern, Kevin Gray. I think for the Paranoid, Kevin Gray found the right balance between old school and modern. I think he's right there in the middle in these terms, and I love to hear, if I want to hear it in terms of clarity and transparency, and a little bit more higher frequencies. I really love to listen to songs from his Paranoid. I don't find myself very much grabbing the first album on Rhino Hi-Fi. So when I want to hear Black Sabbath debut album, I always go either the US first pressing, which I find fabulous, very, very, very close to my love for the UK first pressing. So the greenie of the first album, of the debut album, and the UK first pressing are very, very near each other. So I was overwhelmed when I heard the first pressing of the US debut album, because I was so much used to the UK first pressing, and the greenie of the debut album sounds also phenomenal. So I way prefer the first pressing on the green US label than the Rhino Hi-Fi for the debut album. For the debut album, it's clearly from the UK, US, and then the German first pressing, and then maybe the Rhino Hi-Fi, maybe. So I'm not quite sure. I think it's not so appealing to me. So I was much more happy when I listened to the first 5, 6, 10 minutes from Paranoid. It's really cool. Yeah, the engineers are, yes, yes, yes. That is also my point, John Bandy. Yes, like you said in my first take of the scream which vanished. It's a completely different presentation. It's a completely different presentation. Um, both presentations are wonderful. One is this ominous, dark, menacing UK version, and the other one is the more transparent, more clear, more open. Maybe you can say, but I don't find it more open because it gets more open when you augment the volume. So we have two completely different dishes. We have completely two different presentations, and I'm happy that both are there. So, but both are already there in their first pressing. So the UK first pressing and the US first pressing and the UK first pressings, they are already reminiscent of this, this difference, because those tapes from England and the tapes from America sound different. There is, for me, absolutely no doubt about that. And it's also, yeah, but like I said, Kevin Gray, he really did a great job of combining the modern techniques, the modern technical equipment with the old sound of the Paranoid album, and he did a marvelous job. And if they bring it out unnumbered, 40 euros is a hell of a deal for such a wonderful, wonderful metal album. Because 5, 6, 7, 800 euros for a UK German, even the German first pressings go now for 200, 250 euros. I just sold one for 200. So they go, they go. Yeah, sneaking up from the shadows. Yeah, the UK sound. Yes, he's looming there between the speakers on the UK first pressing and the Rhino. He's yelling in your face. He's just yelling in your face like a ghost. But yeah, the German swirls cannot compete very much with the UK, but it depends. It depends, Ron. Have you had a true first German pressing, a real Philips product first pressing, or was it a repress? So I had for the debut album, I had like three different German pressings, swirl pressings. So one has the big swirl on the side B, one has the small swirl on side B, one has no swirl on side B. So same with Paranoid. I had the second, the third, and the fourth pressing of Paranoid German. So I sold them all. The first pressing of Paranoid German swirl sounds very, very good, but cannot touch the flame of the UK. And there's no, for me, yeah, not possible. The only German swirl pressings which can compete with the UK is the Master of Reality German swirl pressing, because that sounds also very, very close to its counterpart in England. So for me, no doubt, Rhino Hi-Fi Paranoid, fantastic job, but my preference still will be the UK first pressing. Thank you guys for joining. Anyone wants to share some more? I just thought my opinion is not very meaningful for the vinyl community, but I just wanted to share 2 cents on it. I'm glad I bought it, even not the original price. I paid a little bit more because I skipped the first offer, but I don't regret getting it. It's a great, great pressing. Thank you so much, guys. Have a wonderful weekend. See ya. Bye. Thank you, John. Thank you so much. Yeah, yeah, that's right. Hi. Yeah, I agree completely, Ron. I agree. Very good job. If someone wants a great sounding Paranoid album, wait for the unnumbered Rhino Hi-Fi for excellent value for money. Excellent. It's really excellent value for money. I love it. I love it very much. But the John Bandy, he really nailed. He nailed the comparison. Ozzy sneaking up from the shadows or screaming at you like a crazy man. It's true. So that it's interesting what the different masterings can do. Like this, like in the UK, when you listen for it is even more it is even more obvious on the debut album in the first song when Ozzy is singing on the bed and sitting in the darkness and all that things. He's looming between the speakers, and in the US, he's screaming straight in your face. So it seems the Americans like this in your face approach more, and the UK people are, the ghost haunted castle thing, the looming in the shadows thing is more British. I don't know, speculation, but it is like that. You nailed it, John. Great comparison. I prefer the looming one. I prefer those shadowy in the speakers, hanging around. This is more my taste. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Bye.